Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our afternoon edition of Big Brother 22 All-Stars Live Feed Spoilers. This is day 10. After what seems to be an impossibly long delay, the Safety Suite competition is now over. We know not only who won, but who was saved, and it may surprise you, so we're gonna get right into it. And before we do, if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and also support us further. Check those links in the description to the store and also our Patreon. We are doing live chats at the end of every month over there, plus a number of other benefits. I highly suggest you check that out.
Okay, so we're not going to bury the lead here. We'll just tell you what has happened, and then we can allow the confusion to start to sweep over everybody.
Yeah.
So Christmas won the Safety Suite, so that's not too surprising. She is competitive, and I expected her to probably win. But then she decided her plus one was going to be Ian, who had Ian on their bingo card.
I got to admit, when I first heard this, I wanted to replay it because I thought it was a mistake, and then I'm seeing everything that's going on Twitter, and everybody's having the same reaction as me, and it is just like a total what moment. Now, to be fair, as of this recording, at some other point we'll try to see if there's anybody else who played in the Safety Suite, and we'll get a better sense of all of that. So we don't know all of the players at this time, but still, Ian is such a shocking choice because Ian is not a part of the commission, aka the Big Blob Alliance as set up by Memphis.
Yeah, and I mean, we have a couple of theories of what has happened, with one of them having to be that Christmas maybe and was talking to Nicole F a lot. Maybe Nicole Franzel kind of massaged this idea into her head, but just the same, then why would Christmas do this? Because everyone's then going to be really questioning this. Why did she do this?
It is very, very bizarre, because for those of you who don't know or haven't been following the feeds, it seemed as though Ian was, maybe he wouldn't have been initially put up on the block by Memphis, but it felt like he was going to be a backdoor target, or someone who ultimately Memphis really wanted Ian out of this game. I don't know if this is sort of like a remnant from Dan on season 14 situation, or it's just they're not clicking in the house, but he wanted Ian out.
Yeah, that's my theory on it, is that, Dan Memphis ended up getting out, and he didn't end up sticking around with Dan, and then Dan became this big, huge legend, and then there was always he was kind of riding his coattails, and now he's here to prove that he's not. Dan is not in the game for Memphis to be able to get out, but he can beat Ian, who beat Dan, and that's the closest thing that he can get. I think that is why Ian is on Memphis's radar for right away to be like, I'm going to get out a winner. I'm going to get out the winner that beat Dan.
It makes sense. It is sound logic. He knows probably more than anybody. I'm sure Memphis had many conversations with Dan at some point before this season how dangerous a player Ian is. But this does bring us back to the Nicole F speculation here, because it sounds as though maybe Memphis is mad for a number of different reasons, or maybe not mad, but maybe he's just onto something here with Nicole F and Ian. For starters, it's just the idea that did Nicole F and Christmas, they seemingly talked a long time last night, did Nicole F plant this in Christmas's brain?
And it's possible. I mean, Nicole F and Ian, they may not be necessarily their first as a duo, but they do have an alliance together to take each other to the end, because they are the only two winners. And as they've said, as we've said, I think that unless a winner plays a perfect game, they are going to need to be up against another winner, and they both seem to realize that. So Nicole F does not want Ian out of this game.
And by the way, if Nicole F is responsible for this, I know we give her a lot of grief, often understandably, in these videos, but credit to her then for pulling off a move like this that could save a potential really, really close ally, gives them the ability to move forward together. But the big caveat is that if this does end up somehow blowing up Nicole F's game, that could be sort of problematic here as well, and that could have a lot of big long-term ramifications that make this not really worth it.
So my other theory is more about the fact that Memphis does seem to be kind of targeting onto Ian, where the rest of the alliance is kind of like, why isn't he targeting Janelle and KEESHA? I don't really understand what's going on here. We were all kind of targeting them before they won their safety. Now we're in power again. What are you doing, dude? And it has been apparent where people have actually been talking about it. So I kind of wondered if maybe Christmas went in there and took Ian off the table to force his hand to get out Janelle and KEESHA, because now he's like, okay, well, now who do you have left that's not part of this alliance?
I'll admit this, no matter what happens, I'm loving the idea that this entire HOH reign by Memphis may cause his entire alliance to just implode upon itself, because clearly there's distrust forming around Memphis. Like, regardless of if this is Christmas's intention or not, and it's a good theory, it is something where clearly there are questions about whether or not Memphis is playing both sides. I think it's something that Tyler and Danny, and I mean, there's been questions from multiple people about this already, because he wasn't super gung-ho on, like, let's get rid of Janelle and KEESHA at this given period of time. And, you know, guess what? I still, this is just as of this recording, it could change based on campaigning, I still don't think that Memphis is going to nominate Janelle and KEESHA at the nomination ceremony. I still don't think it's going to happen.
I'm not as sure as I was. Having Christmas pull Ian off the board like that is a huge statement, because Memphis isn't exactly too quiet about wanting Ian out of the game within the people that he's working with. So to do something like that, I mean, it puts a big target on Christmas for sure. At least with Memphis, it's gonna be like, why did you do that? Like, why would you do that? And I mean, so with Ian being off the board and the rest of his crew wanting Janelle and KEESHA to go up, I mean, there could be enough pressure on him with people starting to be like, well, why aren't you? Like, what are you doing? You with us or are you against us, sort of thing? And there could be enough there that finally he's gonna be like, fine, whatever, I'll just do what you want.
This is going to be a couple of hours all about peer pressure. How strong is the peer pressure on Memphis? And as we sort of talk about possible nominees, like, it's an interesting situation, because I think there's already paranoia that Davon could go on the block. We've already heard that Memphis is kind of wondering, oh, you know, am I more out to get Davon and Bailey than I am KEESHA and Janelle? That's a possibility.
Yeah, and I mean, that whole thing feels like it could easily be fixed with a conversation with Cody or Enzo. I mean, they're all kind of working together. I mean, Davon and Bailey are not, you know, they're not with Memphis, but they're not, if they got power, I don't think Memphis is who they're going after. That's not really on their radar.
I feel like somebody else would try to protect Memphis as well if one of them won, so I don't think that situation would happen. I think people will try to protect Davon and Bailey. I think at the moment, Nicole Anthony and David have to be the two people I would be sort of the most concerned about right now, in that you put them up, how many people are going to be altogether upset about it? Kevin's name, maybe that enters the conversation at some point, but that's sort of where at least I would kind of perceive things being right now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Kevin. I mean, they just went through all this stuff with Kevin, and, you know, there are other options. So I could see Nicole Anthony. Well, I see Nicole Anthony for sure being in trouble. David just isn't having enough conversations. I mean, he seems like a nice enough guy. I was really excited to see him play, but he just hasn't been coming to the table in an all-star season and really making those connections with anybody, and that would just be his only downfall, is just not enough conversation is happening for him. He needs to start talking to people.
I'm going to pull out the fan fiction pen here.
Okay.
This is the dream scenario, just for entertainment value, that maybe he does put up David and Nicole A, but people keep talking about, oh, I think Nicole F and Ian have a final two, and it like worms into his brain. It haunts his nightmares, and if he can't get rid of Ian, He de-blobs his blob alliance. Nicole F goes up on the block. Entertainment gold.
Yeah, that's some fan fiction right there because they are working
Yeah,
together.
I am aware.
Memphis would be one of the worst players in history if he put up his own alliance members.
Hey.
Like, we've seen that before, and it is bad.
My fan fiction pen does whatever I want it to do. It's probably not going to happen.
No, but what I could see happening is Memphis turning on Christmas.
That could be an interesting sort of situation. I mean,
Down the road.
Yeah.
Obviously not now, but down the road. That
Yeah.
this will be now causing friction between the two of them, that, you know, he really did feel like he came into this house with Ian in mind. If he was going
Yeah.
to be in this house, that was going to be his target. If Christmas taking that from him, I think that obviously Ian is still going to be on his radar, but I think Christmas has put herself in a really kind of crappy position now with Memphis. And I think once Memphis is out of this HOH, I think he's going to be in a lot more trouble than he thinks.
Well, we will be back to discuss more of all of this, but there's going to be so much interesting blowback. I think everybody's wheels are already turning. There's a lot of why did this happen in the house already, but what do you think about not just Christmas winning the safety sweep, but saving Ian in the process?
So weird.
Share in the comments. Give us your theories. Give us a like, subscribe, support us further. Check those links to the store, to our Patreon, and we will see you here next time.